Hey, today we are talking about something really interesting, why more and more people are choosing to stop spending money. Is it smart or just extreme? Stay till the end, I'll share my thoughts.
Today, we're going to dig into an idea, a really powerful one actually. It's something that kind of flips the script on everything we think we know about spending, saving, and what it really means to be wealthy.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the consumer trap, that feeling of being stuck. Then, we'll talk about a totally new way to think, a rebellion mindset. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, 5 things that are just draining our bank accounts. And finally, we'll get to the good part, the amazing payoff when you finally take back control.
All right, let's jump right in. First things first, we've got to understand the problem. And it's a tricky one because it feels so personal, right? Like it's our fault. But really, it's a whole system, and it's pretty much designed to keep us spinning our wheels financially.
Okay, let's paint a picture here, and I bet this sounds familiar. You walk into Target needing, one thing, toilet paper maybe, and you walk out with a full cart. That quick $20 trip? Yeah, it just morphed into $150 of what even is all this stuff? It's that classic retail therapy regret. So, does that hit a little too close to home? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. And look, it's so important to get this. This is not a personal failure. It's not about you lacking willpower. This whole thing is the result of a culture that's been built very carefully to profit from our every little impulse. And that brings us to the real enemy here, what we call the upgrade culture. It's this nonstop pressure, this little voice that's always telling you that the phone you have, the car you drive, the TV on your wall, it's just not good enough anymore. It pushes us to replace perfectly good stuff all the time.
So the big question is, how do we fight back against this? Well, it's going to take a whole new way of thinking. This isn't about clipping coupons or finding a better sale. No. This is about completely changing our entire relationship with the act of buying.
You know all that weak advice you hear? Oh, just skip your morning latte. Forget it. The rebellion mindset is way bigger than that. We're talking about making huge, decisive changes. It's about questioning every single purchase and just straight up eliminating whole categories of spending that, when you really think about it, add zero real value to your life.
And listen, this isn't about living in a cave and giving up everything fun. Not at all. It's just about being intentional. It's about seeing your money for what it is. A tool to build a life you actually want, not just, a way to kill time on a Saturday.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. We're going to break down 5 major spending categories. These are the big ones, the real roadblocks that stop most of us from ever building real wealth.
All right, first on the list, and this is probably the single biggest wealth destroyer for most families out there. It's so normal we don't even think to question it anymore, but when you see the numbers, whoa, they're staggering.
Just think about that. Over $50,000 for something that loses a massive chunk of its value the literal second you drive away. But the car dealers, they're smart. They never want you to focus on that big scary number. All they want you talking about is that low monthly payment.
This just completely changes how you think about owning a car, right? That monthly payment isn't building you anything. It's basically a rental fee. You're just renting it from the bank. And if you stop paying, poof, they come and take their car back. It's not yours.
So look at the choice you're making. Let's say that payment is $650 a month. If you took that same money and invested it instead, over 20 years, that could grow to something like $400,000. That is the real cost of that car payment. You're not just paying for a car, you're trading away a massive chunk of your future freedom, all for that new car smell.
Okay, number 2 on our list, status symbols. You know what I'm talking about. The fancy clothes, the expensive watches, the sneakers that cost more than a car payment. We're literally buying stuff just to show other people we've made it, and we're often wrecking our own finances to do it.
I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's this wild culture where you see people with $300 shoes, but they have $3 in their bank account. Here's the thing. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't need a logo to prove itself. It shows up in the freedom you have to make choices.
All right, number 3, vacations that we pay for with debt. Look, we all love a good trick, right? But how we pay for it is everything. And way too often, we're buying a week of fun with months or even years of credit card debt.
It's really simple when you break it down. If you can't pay for that trip with cash, you're not really buying a vacation. You're buying a financial hangover. A real vacation is supposed to make you feel refreshed, and you can't feel refreshed when you come home to a giant pile of new debt.
Okay, let's move on to number 4, the upgrade trap. This is that feeling, that constant pressure to get the newest gadget. Your phone works perfectly fine, your laptop does everything you need it to, but every single year, a marketing department somewhere spends millions of dollars to convince you that you're a loser if you don't upgrade.
So here's the rule. It's a really simple two-step logic to break out of this cycle. When do you upgrade? You upgrade when your current thing stops doing what you need it to do. That's it. You don't upgrade just because some company decided it's time for you to give them more money. That's how you take back control.
And last but not least, number 5. And this one might sting a bit. We're talking about food delivery. Now, obviously, if you're sick or you can't get out, that's a different story. But for a lot of us, this has become a habit, an incredibly expensive default setting.
Someone called this the lazy tax, and while that's a little harsh, it's kinda true, isn't it? You end up paying like double the price for food that's probably cold by the time it gets to you, all to avoid a quick drive. This isn't just about money, it's about priorities. We've turned cooking, or even just picking up our own food, into some kind of luxury.
So, what happens when you start plugging these leaks, when you get rid of these financial drains? Well, the payoff is huge, and trust me, it's about way, way more than just having more money in the bank. What you really gain is freedom. Freedom from the stress of debt. Freedom from that exhausting game of keeping up with the Joneses. When your identity isn't wrapped up in the stuff you own, you become almost invincible psychologically. You get your time back, you get your mental energy back, you get to actually start building the life you want, not the one you're told to buy.
So, I'm just going to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Every company out there wants you to believe that happiness is just one more purchase away. Always. But what if the real secret to feeling rich, that deep sense of security and abundance, isn't about buying more, but about wanting less? That's a pretty powerful idea, isn't it?
My take, cutting all spendings is too much, but being mindful with money, that actually works. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried spending less? What happened?